Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Michael and I've been in the kitchen making some sourdough bread, and I've got 2 loaves here. And with that, I did a little experiment. I wanted to show what would happen if you preheated your Dutch oven versus not preheating your Dutch oven. So I used the Le Creuset Dutch oven, and I used the Emile Henry bread cloche. This is ceramic and this is cast iron, and it has the enamel on the inside of it. So we've got 2 different products that do the same thing. So I've got, you can make your bread in the Dutch oven with the lid on it, and you can make it in the Emile Henry bread cloche. They both do the same thing. They keep the steam on the inside so that you get that nice bread and get that nice crust on the outside of those. So you always want to, when you're making breads and things, you want that nice crust on the outside with those. And that's a way to tell if they're done, if you pick them up and they've got that kind of a little bit of thump on the inside of them also. You can also tell when bread is done by taking an internal temperature. If the internal temperature is between 200 and 205, that's pretty much going to tell you that the bread is done. So with my sourdough recipe, it does make 2 loaves of bread. So I've got my 2 loaves of bread here, and they were identical when I divided them up and put them into my bannetons when I got ready to proof them in the refrigerator. So the only difference was the control of this was that I heated one of these up in the oven before, and I did not heat the other one up. I put it in there cold and let the dough come up to temperature on the inside and cook it. So with the Le Creuset, I put it in the oven empty, and I put that up on 450 degrees or 230 degrees Celsius, and I let that heat up for about 30 minutes. And then I took my dough out of my banneton, I put it on some parchment paper, and I dropped it into the Le Creuset and cooked that. So this is the bread that was cooked in the Le Creuset. And you can see a little bit of difference in these 2 here from the one that was cooked in the Emile Henry. And the reason with that is I did not preheat the Emile Henry. I put the dough in it cold, and then I put it into the oven and let it come up. So if you put your Dutch oven in the oven hot, the inside of the oven is going to get really hot, and it sets that bread so that it cooks, and you'll get a nice upward rise on it like we see here. If you put it into a cold Dutch oven or a cold bread cloche like I have here with the Emile Henry, you're going to get a little bit of a spread, because as that's heating up, it's going to continue to proof in there. So instead of it going up, it's going to go out. So with this is a little bit wider in the bottom. And so when I put the dough in there, it started spreading because it was proofing outwards and upwards. So you're going to get different results of what that is. So you can see here, this one's taller than this one, and this one is wider than this one. And so that's the big difference in what it was. So with my Emile Henry, I put the dough in there cold, and I put the lid on it, put it into the oven, and I changed the oven temperature to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius, and I let that cook. With this in the heated Le Creuset, this cooked with the lid on it for 20 minutes, and then I took the lid off of it and let it cook an additional 10. So the additional 10 is what's going to give it this darker crust on the outside of it. And I did check the temperature when I pulled it off the lid at 20 minutes, and it showed that the temperature was at 205. So I knew that the internal bread was done. So all I wanted to do was kind of brown it. With the Emile Henry, with it going in cold, it had more time for it to continue to proof and it spread. So I didn't get the height on it that I had with the Le Creuset. And it took 40 minutes at that temperature to cook. And when I tested the temperature on that, it was done at 40 minutes. And then instead of letting it cook an additional 10 minutes, I took the lid off of this and let it cook 5. So I could have gotten it a little bit darker, just like this one, but I didn't. I just let that. I've always cooked the bread with this for 5 minutes with that. So that's the difference between the colors. So if you've ever wondered, can you preheat your Emile Henry? If you've got one of these, you can. The website says you can preheat that. You preheat the base, and then you put that bread in it, and then you put the top on it and put it into the oven and cook it. So I didn't do that with that one. I just wanted to control it. I was experimenting in the kitchen. I wanted to see what it was going to do, and that was the results that I got from that. So if you've ever wondered, Can you preheat or not preheat? You can definitely do it both ways. They're just going to look a little bit different. Now I'm going to take a knife now and I'm going to take it and we're going to cut it and we're going to look at the inside and see what the inside looks like on these. All right, now I'm going to cut the Emile Henry bread. I'm just going to take one edge off of it here. All right, so we've got some nice air pockets in here. We've got some nice bread that's got a nice consistency to it. And so that looks really good. You can see here the air pockets are on the side of that from our sourdough. Now let's cut into our one that I cooked in the Le Creuset and see what that looks like. So we've got some nice air pockets in that also with our sourdough. And you can see here this piece here where we've got that. And then we've got the Emile Henry. So we've got, you know, the height that we've got on the Le Creuset versus this one. Again, that was because we heated it up and we've got some nice air pockets in there. We've got some nice bread. And so let's give these a taste and see if they're going to taste any different. I'm just going to cut a little piece of this off on the side. And then I'll take a little piece of this off on the side of this. So I've got my bread that was cooked in the Emile Henry. Let's give that a try. Very good. Nice sour taste to it. Now let's taste our bread from our Le Creuset the way that this was cooked, see if it tastes any different. The taste is the same. I've had several questions asking about could you preheat your Emile Henry, and you definitely can. You can preheat that up, and it just depends on you. If you want to preheat the Emile Henry, you can or not. Or if you want to preheat a Dutch oven, you can or not. It's completely up to you. The results are going to be a little bit different in the way that they look. With the preheated, you'll get more of a compact and more of a higher rise and lift to your bread versus one that's not preheated. You'll get a little bit more of a spread. You won't get the height on it that you do on the other. But as far as the taste of the bread, it's identical. There's no difference in the taste. It's just how it's going to look when it gets up a little bit different from there. So I hope this has answered any of those questions. If you got any more questions about that, about either one of these two products, please leave me a comment in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And if you like this content, maybe you might consider giving me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And check out one of these other two videos over here on the side. You might find something else you like. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye now.